All right, proceeding on with the animal mask. Once you have your last layer of plaster of Paris done, we need to let it dry a little bit, and then very carefully we go ahead and we pry it loose from the face mold, which I've kind of loosened it a little bit ahead of time. Okay, the face mold, you can kind of get some of this off over a garbage can. We don't want to clean this off over the sink. All these little areas and little flakes of plaster of Paris can go ahead and it can get in the sink and it can clog it up. So we want to make sure we clean that like over a garbage can. If you have some left over that you didn't use, that you kept underneath your mask when it was on a paper towel, those can just be put back in the container, or you can give them to someone else in class. All right, so what you do next is you need a couple paper towels, and you're going to get a pair of scissors out of the container, and you're going to go around and you're going to trim off the extra that sticks out past the bottom edge of the mask. So it's the part that would have been sticking out on this like flat blue part that came out. Okay, and I've done a little bit of that already ahead of time. So you just work over paper towels. You don't need to cut it all off, but you want to trim off a lot of these little areas that are sticking out pretty far on here, such as this, like this. We're gonna go around and trim that off. You could also do this over a garbage can if you'd like to, but you can also just work over some paper towels at your table, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. All right, so you kind of work your way around like this, using the scissors. Remember, we're using the scissors out of the containers. Please don't use like scissors on the back counter. Probably would not recommend using your own either. As you can see what it does to the scissors. It kind of doesn't, you know, they're not going to come very clean, obviously. Okay, so you kind of go around and trim like that. Okay, hopefully the inside of your mask turned out well. I'll show you some examples. I'll show you a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. So here is an eagle. Did awesome on what we're going to learn about next, which is sculpt mold. But on the inside, you can see pretty much every individual piece of the first layer of horizontal plaster of Paris in there. So they really didn't use the warm or hot water, probably didn't use their fingers to kind of wipe it off, and didn't really tap it on very well. So that's an example of a 1 on the plaster of Paris. Kind of hard to see, so I can have these out in class for you to see also. Here's a polar bear. Awesome on the polar bear. Inside is a little bit better, more of a 2. You can see some of the individual pieces. Some of them have been smoothed out a lot better because they wiped off the extra water and tapped them in a little bit better. So this is probably an example of a 2. Okay. Once again, this one was completely painted. The eagle that I showed you, that one was not painted, obviously. Here's an owl someone did. Really good job on the inside. Smoothed out really well. They wiped the individual pieces off when they dipped them in the water. When they put them on, they tapped them on really well. They used warm or hot water. There's just some areas, in some areas like over here, some areas along here that didn't really get smoothed out that well, or they didn't really tap on to fill in the little holes on the plaster of Paris gauze. So that's an example of a 3. They did really well on that. And then here we have a lion. Another one that didn't get painted. And these 2 I have that didn't get painted, the students maybe ran out of time or some other situation came up where they didn't get them painted. But again, excellent job with sculpt mold, what we're going to learn about next. Fantastic on the inside. You cannot even really see that the gauze was used on the little strips that we cut from the roll. Just a fantastic job when they wiped off the individual pieces from the water container, when they laid them on and overlapped the pieces, when they tapped them on with their finger, when they did that. So this is an example of a 4. So I have an example of a 1, 2, 3, and a 4 on what the interior should look like. And again, I can show these to you in class. You can see them a lot better that way. Might not show up really well in the video. So anyway, that's what you're going to do for the next step. Once you're done with the plaster of Paris, we go ahead, pry it off the face mold. We want to clean this off like over a garbage can and just use a sponge or a damp paper towel. And then we go ahead and trim off the bottom edge that sticks out too far. And then the next video is going to be how we're going to mix and work with sculpt mold. Actually, the next 2 videos are going to be about that. So thank you for watching.